I'm in beautiful Ronks, Pennsylvania, in the middle of Amish country. You might see the horse and buggies in the background. As I pan around to the right, you can see the historic Strasburg Railway. And here is a look at the front of the Red Caboose Motel. I'll pan back around as we have another horse and buggy coming by. And a couple of them actually. So the Red Caboose Motel is not your typical establishment for lodging. As you can see on the side here, we have Casey Jones Restaurant, which is an old rail car. And as we walk back to the motel, the 43 rooms in this motel are pretty special. They are actually cabooses for the most part, although there are a couple of mail car and baggage cars. But it's a line of cabooses. Right there's the Wabash, RF&P, which looks to be Richmond, Lincoln, Washington, D.C. We've got the Rio Grande main line. And number 5 is the caboose that we stayed in. It's a 2-bedroom, little efficiency, if you will. So to give you an idea, there's a small bedroom on the left side with a bed and a TV. And in the middle, they've retrofitted a bathroom, and there's skylights as well in the middle. And then there's a bedroom on the right side. Pretty small, pretty comfy. And I'll go in a little bit later to take a quick peek. So that's number 5, and here's number 6 right here, the Pennsylvania Railroad. And the story goes that in 1969, a man by the name of Don Denlinger went to an auction of the Pennsylvania Railroad. He put in a crazy low bid on about a dozen rail cars. Actually, I think it was 19 cabooses, if you will. And he won. So there was a blizzard at the time, and as a part of his winning bid, he had to transport the cabooses somewhere. So he transported them to this site here and decided, probably took some doing or some thinking, and he decided to create this motel. And it opened in the early 70s. They're celebrating their 49th year since the purchase of these cabooses. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of this quirky, whimsical, I don't know what a better word for that is, maybe just fun. It's a fun place to stay in the middle of Amish country. It's surrounded by farms and the historic Strasburg Rail Road. So we'll come across, that was the first row that's facing the road, and that's the road that you saw many different Amish buggies being led by horses. There's actually a store right up the street that's run by Amish that you can go buy some root beer. We had some root beer yesterday, very good. Actually, the lemonade was spectacular. So I'll pan back around to the farmland, and there's a Canadian Pacific caboose, and over here is a Lionel Lines caboose, number 14, and we'll go back around this row here on the opposite side of the one I just showed you. And of course, here's the Strasburg Rail Road, which we saw in the beginning, which is about a half mile from here. We've got some others as well. I'm looking into the sun, so it might be hard to see this. Maybe I'll switch perspectives here. So we're not facing the sun directly. There's a Burlington. Here's the old Chessie system, which was in the Maryland corridor, the C&O, the Chesapeake in Ohio. And right next to that is the Baltimore in Ohio, which is actually the first railway. It went from Baltimore to Ellicott City, Maryland, which is about 20 miles. And Ellicott City is a historic place. You may have heard in the news, every time there's heavy rain, there is severe flooding in Ellicott City. But there's a historic railway museum in Ellicott City. And again, that was the first rail line from Baltimore to Ellicott City, Maryland on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. And in the 1860s, I think Lincoln took a train from DC to Ohio, and he stopped during his presidential inauguration celebration on the B&O line, I think in Ellicott City, and Baltimore as well. Here's a Rock Island Railroad caboose, as well as a Maine Central. I think of all the different color schemes, this is one of my favorites. Green and yellow.
Say good morning.
Hi there.
We did.
Did you like the caboose? My daughter loved it. Did you like it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And right here is a Reading. This actually might be my favorite scheme of all, with the green and yellow. A caboose from Reading, the Reading line. And we have a Lehigh Valley caboose, number 20. So this is the end of the first row, right next to the restaurant. And as we walk around to the other side, you can again see the beautiful view. Outside of the restaurant, there's a petting zoo over there. They have buggy rides. We actually took a buggy ride yesterday, up a little bit up the road. So we're on the next row here. This one actually is, I guess, the flagship, if you will. That's the Red Caboose Motel's caboose. And here is a post office rail car. And there are 2 rooms in there, a little bigger than normal. And here we're coming up to the honeymoon suites, what I'm told. We're 47, pretty big size car from the California Western Railroad, which looks like it was the skunk train from Fort Bragg to Willits, California. And right here, number 48 is Norfolk Southern. This is actually one of the few lines that are still in existence. And this is a honeymoon suite, and I'm told there is a whirlpool inside. And next to it is number 49, which is also a honeymoon suite and also has a whirlpool. 48 has a deck outside. Of course, it only overlooks the rail car, the cabooses in front of it, so it's not the greatest view. And that's the end of this row. And we'll walk around to the next row straight ahead. And actually, on the other side of the Red Caboose Motel is a toy train museum, which you can see straight ahead next to the train signal here. So here's the little playground, picnic area. And if you see the two-way traffic sign there, this is actually overflow parking for the Strasburg Railway. So yesterday they had a Thomas the Train exhibit and it was packed, so they need this overflow parking, and they have a bus that takes folks from this overflow parking to the Strasburg Railway. Nice farmland there. So we'll take a peek of this next row here. There's a New York Central caboose. Nice looking green caboose, and again we're walking into the sun, so I'll try to shield the sun so we can get a better view. Here's a caboose from Erie, the Erie rail line. This is Conrail, one of the smaller cabooses. And here's the Illinois Central line. So I'm told that Don Denlinger, the founder of the Red Caboose Motel, also created the Fulton Steamboat Motel, which is up the road about 5 miles or so, which I've stayed before, and it is actually a motel that looks like a steamboat, and all the rooms are kind of on the outside of the steamboat. So it looks like Don enjoyed these theme type motels. Yeah? It was an interesting place to stay. Of course, not as interesting as this. This looks to be a handicap accessible caboose from the Florida East Coast Railway Flagler system. Interesting logo there. It's almost got the rising sun of Japan look to it. So that's number 34. Number 33. And this is the last row. There's a couple of cars over here that we'll take a look at. That looks to be actually two more with ramps that are handicap accessible. That's a smaller looking caboose, number 30 from the Southern Lines. That's the one that says the Broadway. So this looks to be a baggage car actually. So most of them are cabooses. We've got a post office car, a baggage car. And then as we come across here, here's another one with a handicap ramp. This one actually has a pretty nice view of this whole line has a pretty nice view of the pasture over here. Oh, they have a deck. Wow. So this might be the one with the best view. You've got a little deck and a view of the farms out back. And it's handicap accessible as well. And I haven't seen any cars out here, so I'm not sure if they saved this one for special occasions. But number 41, the Norfolk and Western, might be the prime spot. Maybe next time we'll request that one. And on the other side we have another one. This looks like to be the last one in the row. The Nickel Plate Road line. I've never heard of that one. It looks to be a pretty large size car, a caboose. And as we go back, there's a playground back here. There's an observation tower. So that silo has actually been converted into an observation tower for the kids next to the playground here. Again, nice view of the farmland back, and here's the playground. There's a picnic area. Looks like there's a fire pit over there. And in the back, that was the parking area for the Strasburg Railway. And then over here we've got a hotel where some folks have stayed in an actual house that's converted over to a hotel. So I'll pan back around to this farm, to this barn where they show movies at night. So last night they had a Disney movie, and the night before was Aladdin. So right here is a barn where they have the movie nights, and again here's a shot of the observation tower in what used to be the silo. And actually, this might be a good opportunity to go up to the top of the observation tower and see what we can see. We'll see if it's open. Looks like it's 50 cents, so we'll come back. It's on the honor system. We'll come back with 50 cents and put it in there. And I got a staircase in this silo. As we continue to circle off this little Mustang here, I just felt some cobwebs in my hair. Looked to be about halfway up the silo to the top of this observation tower. There's a nice shot of the silo that's kind of boarded up. And then we're getting close to the top. And here we go. Wow. There's a great view of the backside of the motel and the farm in the distance. There's the playground. There's the Strasburg Railway. If you see the smoke billowing, they're probably firing up one of the locomotives for today. There's a better view. So the Strasburg Railway, in addition to having Thomas and Percy, they actually have old number 49. A locomotive that goes from here to Paradise. I think it's about 10 to 15 miles down the way. There's the farm next to the railway. As we come around, a couple horses down there. That's where the petting zoo is. It's going to be another beautiful morning in Amish country. And this will be a great location to actually see the trains come by. They should probably start in another hour or so. Pretty good view of the cabooses. Here's the Red Caboose Motel. So anyway, there's a tour of the Red Caboose Motel. Outstanding place to stay if you're into this kind of thing. Good food at the restaurant. And actually, before I cut off the things off, it looks like they're testing Thomas the train here. We saw the smoke in the background. So here's Thomas on a test run for today. Hopefully he'll keep coming past the train signals and we can get a view of him. Well, it looks like he stopped right there behind the tree. You can't see the smoke. So unlike Percy, Thomas is an actual locomotive that pulls and pushes the cars on this one track excursion. For Percy, he's more decorative. They actually have a real locomotive that pushes and pulls. That train is a little smaller. So this Thomas the train engine is being tested right now, and he did not actually come by. He's heading back to the rail yard probably to hook up for the day. If you look through the trees, you can just make him out right there. The smoke billowing right there. Yesterday was packed. It was the first Thomas the Train Day here at the Strasburg Railway. And actually, I should probably mention that across the way, if you see the white building across the road from Strasburg Railway, it's the Pennsylvania State Railroad Museum. They've got a bunch of old Amtrak cars there, some other old cars, and there's an inside area as well. So definitely the railroad theme, this part of Pennsylvania. Yeah, it looks like Thomas is just sitting there, although the train signals have been down for a couple minutes. He looks like he's heading back to the train yard, so we'll get a shot of Thomas heading back, and then we'll head back as well. So hope everybody enjoyed this tour of the Red Caboose Motel. Again, if you're thinking of staying here, you should definitely do so. Very nice inside. These cabooses, kind of like a little, you know, if you've been on a sleeper car for Amtrak, it's kind of the same feel. I'm not going to say cramped quarters, but it's kind of tight, cozy, romantic, fun, you name it. So from Ronks, Pennsylvania, good day.